Welcome back to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, and folks, we're streaming live to millions worldwide on YouTube, Rumble, and X. What sets us apart from every other show out there? Well, we don't just talk at you, we interact with you in the live chat, getting a real-time reaction to the day's explosive news. So share the stream right now via text message to bypass Big Tech's algorithm. And for X viewers, repost the show to your followers. Let's break the internet together. If you want to support the show privately and help us keep bringing you the truth the mainstream media won't touch, hit those donation links in the description. Every dollar helps us stay on the air and fight the information war. We're funded by patriots like you, not corporate overlords. Now let me fire up the flux capacitor in my DeLorean because we need to travel back to July 2nd. 1776. On this day in history, the Continental Congress voted for independence from Britain 2 days before they'd formally adopt the Declaration of Independence. But here's what connects that moment to today. Just like our founders face an empire that thought it was unstoppable, Donald Trump, in week 23 of his return to the White House, is taking on a different kind of empire, the deep state establishment that thought they were unstoppable. And just like King George learned the hard way, they're finding out what happens when you underestimate American patriots. And speaking of Trump, while the president is taking a well-deserved day off from publicly scheduled events, his team is out there right now working overtime, spreading his agenda like wildfire across the nation. That is why he is unstoppable. Even when he's recharging, the movement keeps charging forward because the machine never sleeps. Now, before we dive into today's bombshells, I want you to know that we will be featuring your super chats and your Rumble rants on screen for the world to see. Send them in right now, even before we begin, and we'll read them between segments because your voice matters here. So today we're bringing you 5 explosive stories that prove the Trump train has no brakes. The big, beautiful bill just shocked the Senate into submission. ICE raids are sending illegals running for the border, with Tom Homan sending a brutal message. And Democrats have now launched their pathetic Project 2029 copycat disaster. It's already DOA. The left is already having a complete meltdown over women's sports being protected again. And the Diddy verdict has exposed the deep state cover-up involving Comey's daughter that'll make your blood boil. Here's something special. You can join our YouTube channel memberships. You didn't know that? Each level comes with its own perks, and you'll receive special acknowledgement in the chat room, unlock exclusive access to the Next News team, get behind-the-scenes uploads, and you'll be able to have access to our exclusive 24/7 members-only Discord chat. Be part of the inner circle that gets the inside scoop. And if you want to show off your favorite news source while supporting independent journalism, check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. The link's in the description. We've got some brand new designs, including Alligator Alcatraz, President Auto Pen, and our American Badass series. Rock that Next News gear and let everyone know you get your news unfiltered and uncensored. We're about to expose how Democrats are literally claiming people will die from tax cuts, while deranged leftists think ICE is dumping illegals into the ocean from cargo planes, and how the same prosecutor from the Epstein case just let another predator walk free. The establishment's panicking because the Trump agenda is working. His team never stops grinding, and Americans are waking up to the truth faster than ever. Even when the president takes a breather, the MAGA machine keeps humming at full speed, and that's what terrifies them the most. So buckle up, refill that coffee, get ready for some rapid-fire truth bombs that'll have you sharing the stream with everyone you know. This is the Raw Feed, where we don't just report the news, we dissect it with you in real time. Who's here today? Let's welcome you to the program. We got Deplorable Diva, Pothead Kenny. We got Skyzar. We got Sabrina. We've got Lynn, DBDB. We got Jarnuga1. Miss Pothead Kenny's here. Duty to Rebel. Who else is in the house? We've got checking in here. Let's see here. 131 viewers. Man, fucking YouTube, dude. Dropping F-bombs already for me. These guys are pissing me off to no end. I don't know what they're doing to this freaking channel and to this show, but it's pissing me off unbelievably. It really is. I do not understand it. Like, it is clear suppression happening in real time. You guys are seeing it. You guys see the numbers. What does this mean? 130. We have 2.25 million people who subscribe to this channel. How about a freaking notification? How about you let them know we're live, YouTube? And that's all that they think needs to see it. That's how bad this is. So when I say text the stream to people, I'm being dead serious that the suppression is happening, and I'm so pissed. We would go live with this show and we'd have thousands and thousands of people watching. It's like YouTube just flipped a switch and they're like, yeah, bye Gary, thanks a lot. Oh man, it pisses me off to no end. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. Sailor Spirits here. Billy Price, Resto Guy, R. Boyd, SLM. Deplorable Divas here. Made it 2 days in a row. What up? Yeah, holy moly, he said the F-bomb. Yeah, I'm pissed, dude. I'm pissed. I am freaking pissed. 153 people. This is suppression in real time, folks. Those numbers you see on your screen is actual real-time suppression. Oh, man, whatever. Okay, let's go to our trivia question right out the gate here. At least you guys are seeing the show. Which U.S. Air Force fighter jet program was canceled in 2009 due to cost overruns? Was it A, the F-22 Raptor, B, the F-35 Lightning, C, F-15 Eagle, or D, F-16 Falcon? I'm going to go with A. I believe it was the F-22 Raptor. Let's see what you guys say. The poll is up. Cast your votes, or you can drop a message into the chat room or in the comments below. Thank you, Kim. Love the show. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, Karen says they're doing it to a lot of channels. Yeah. All right. The headline. Oh, God. Now I'm totally thrown off now because I'm so pissed. So pissed. I've never seen numbers like this. Have you, Brian? Todd, have you seen? You've never seen numbers this low. What is it? Is it because everyone's like going on vacation for the 4th of July, or what is it? I mean, this is just unbelievable. All right. Let me recompose myself so I can bring you the frickin' news. The headlines are screaming it from coast to coast. Senate passes Trump's big, beautiful bill. But, folks, this isn't just another piece of legislation crawling through Congress. What happened last night represents a complete reversal of everything that Biden destroyed. Gas prices are already plummeting. The Air Force chief just announced they're swearing in 20 new recruits after this broadcast. Even CNN can't spin it anymore. Their own hosts are admitting that Trump might be unstoppable. And that's exactly why Democrats are in full panic mode, claiming thousands will die from tax cuts. You heard that correctly. But the real story, it's what's happening in places like Waco, Texas, that proves this movement has become something far bigger than politics. So keep watching. We've got the scoop. Now, you probably think your 401k is safe, but it wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift retirement costs and risk onto you, leaving your savings exposed to crashes, inflation, and chaos. But Americans are waking up and taking control with real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands secure their future by converting part of their 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. It's safe, simple, and smart. Visit nextnewsgold.com to get your free wealth protection kit and discover how to safeguard your savings. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America, the beautiful coins, for free. That's nextnewsgold.com. Your exit from the danger zone. That number on the screen, 877-646-5347, or click the link in the description, nextnewsgold.com. And when you talk to Colin, tell him Gary said hi, would you please? All right. We have some unfortunate news we have to share with you. This just came across my desk, and I'm a little heartbroken here. I just got to show you. Here it is. Can we bring it up, please? Yeah. We have it? Yeah. Do we have the shot? Yeah. Here she is. There she is. Kathy Griffin. That's Kathy Griffin, folks. This is what stage 4 TDS looks like. And cameras captured it today. It's going all over the web, and her fans are in tears. Nobody really quite understands what is happening. I mean, the only logical explanation is that TDS has, it's metastasized, and it is now showing up. I mean, she looks like she could be cast in Lord of the Rings, maybe one of the orcs, perhaps. Maybe a gender-swapped orc. We never saw that in Lord of the Rings, but, now with stage 4 TDS in full swing here, there's a real chance that Hollywood could pick her up for a special casting role in the next Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I believe is already in production. So everyone just out there, say a prayer for Kathy Griffin. Hope that she gets some treatment for this disorder. Sorry to share this with you, but I had to. It just came across my desk. But, TDS is unstoppable in some cases. Just like the MAGA train is unstoppable. Headlines across the country right now, unstoppable is the word. Republicans and Democrats are facing the cold, hard truth that Trump might be unstoppable. Leland Vittert, News Nation, here he is.
He's doing it. Both Republicans and Democrats are facing the cold, hard truth that Trump might be unstoppable. Whether you like him or whether you don't like him, you need to look realistically at what he's doing and how quickly he's doing it. The Trump archives are a series of near impossible feats that we have been told. The Israelis have agreed to a ceasefire deal in Gaza that would bring home the hostages. Hamas has not agreed. Like all Mideast peace deals, it's fragile, but there is progress. Here at home, just today, the University of Pennsylvania announced something that they said they never would, a change to its policy on trans athletes. Men will no longer be allowed to play on women's sports teams. It seems obvious, right? But a couple of years ago, if you said that, you were a bigot. Penn, of course, is where the biological male, Leah Thomas, made a mockery of swimming records. That is no more. The border is closed. We were told that it couldn't be done by Joe Biden. Without congressional action, Trump did it. The big, beautiful bill just passed the Senate. Trump's more politically powerful than ever, even more powerful than when we told you yesterday that he's the most powerful modern president. Again, this is not cheerleading. This is telling you what is happening and why it matters to you. And this bill for Donald Trump is a critical step. Bill O'Reilly told us last night that Trump's entire legacy is tied up in whether the bill passes both the Senate and the House. What I think is interesting is you say this is a must make or break moment right now for Donald Trump in these days.
Yeah, I'm right as usual, and you're wrong. Because if a recession hits, Donald Trump's second term is over. He'll lose the midterms, he'll lose Congress, he'll get nothing done, he'll go down in history as a failed president.
All right, today the Senate delivered. The House is next. It's going to be an uphill battle, but as we've told you before, don't bet against Trump, even when he had impeachments, felony charges, and felony convictions. Trump has also won major victories at the Supreme Court on the power of the executive branch. He bombed Iran and severely damaged their nuclear program without starting World War III. A major deal with the Saudis and Israelis could be coming. The B-2 pilots who struck Iran are coming to the White House for July 4th. The stock market closed at record highs this week, despite all the tariff hysteria. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, it certainly does. Here we have Iran's foreign minister. This just 3 hours ago, they admitted their key nuclear sites have been seriously and heavily damaged.
Obliterate.
What we know so far is that the facilities have been seriously and heavily damaged.
President Trump has made it clear multiple times that Iran's nuclear facilities targeted in those U.S. strikes were, in his words, obliterated. Have they been obliterated?
It appears that they have been heavily and seriously damaged. No one at the moment says that the facilities have remained intact.
Here, let me do the voiceover for this. Yes, in fact, Donald Trump is right. He blew the shit out of our nuclear facilities, and we will not be able to do anything except wash dishes and clean stones from now on. That's basically it. That's basically what he's saying, folks. What? Now, we have here the U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff, General David W. Alvin, talking about the new replacement for the famous B-2 bomber. It's called the B-21, B-21. I mean, the B-2 is pretty badass. So we got something better coming. Nice. Let's hear about it.
And enemy air.
And then what was the next? Right after the B-2 you came up with?
Now we have the B-21, and the B-21 is it's a next iteration forward. It's a better stealth, better delivery, and that is it's in its testing and beginning production phase. It's a fantastic platform, and it's going to be the follow-on to the B-2.
And what kind of things will it do that the B-2 can't?
Well, it will be able to penetrate deeper. It'll have more low observability, so it'll be tougher to find. And it will be able to penetrate deeper into enemy airspace and be able to, as we say, put warheads on foreheads anywhere the president might want.
So that while we're working on that, the B-21...
Put warheads on foreheads. Oh, my goodness.
And you're also working on the B-47, correct?
F-47, yes.
F-47, my bad. So tell me about the F-47. I remember Secretary Hegseth mentioned it to the president. How far along are you, and what will that do?
Well, it was a great day this spring when President Trump announced that we were going forward with the F-47. There was a competition that was had amongst industry, and Boeing won the competition. And that program is very far along in what we call the risk reduction phase, where you're learning the new technology, the new concepts, new ways of manufacturing. All those are brand new. And so now we're at the point where we're going to continue the building and the testing. We hope to have one flying within the next 3 years.
So, General, we'll get concerned about cost overruns, maybe. And then what was the next? Right after
the F-47 is coming. Okay, let's see here. They're talking about the next 20 Americans joining the Air Force.
Out in Times Square. I got to tell you, this is why I got to sneak out of the Pentagon today. After this show, I'm going to go and I'm going to swear in another 20 Americans who are going to join our Air Force out in Times Square. The recruiting is just going like gangbusters. I think the issue is we have a lot of people.
Yeah, good luck with Times Square if that governor or if that mayor actually wins. Times Square is going to be used for facing Mecca.
Patriotic Americans out there. But there's a lot of distractions. And so our recruiters do the work of reaching out and saying, here's the value proposition we have of you. If you want to do something of purpose, if you want to look just beyond yourself, and you want to be part of a winning team in a game that really matters, and that's national defense, come join the Air Force, and you'll get to do some pretty special stuff when you do.
Right on. Here we have, okay, check this out. This is what happened in Waco, Texas. Now, I'm not sure the logic behind it. Maybe this guy's going to explain it. But this guy says he's going to show his support for President. Mama and Papa B's barbecue in Waco is closing their doors until the big, beautiful bill gets passed. I don't understand. Why would you want to? He says it's to show unity. How dare you? How
dare you?
How dare you shut down a barbecue joint? I don't know how that shows unity. Maybe this guy's going to wise me up.
President. If it's a loss, we'll take that loss because the community has been so good to us as a family that we feel we deserve it. We owe it to the community to give back, and this is the way that we're doing it.
Bill Collins and his family.
I don't know how, closing your store. How is that giving back, though?
Family have owned Mama and Papa B's barbecue in downtown Waco for 40 years. But to show their support for our president, they're closing their doors until the big, beautiful bill gets passed.
We're doing it as a form of protest because we believe that following Trump, who is our president, although we don't agree with everything that he may say or do, but we feel that in this particular instance, it is very important that we show unity.
The bill includes several new policies ranging from tax cuts to immigration enforcement. But Collins tells me his solidarity isn't about policy. He says it's about standing up for what the bill can do.
American people need to come together, put aside their political differences, and come together in unity and show the world, the United Nations are looking at what we're doing.
Some people might say, oh, well, why is he closing his restaurant? This is only going to hurt him. What would you say to them?
Well, see, that's the whole point. If it was going to hurt me, I wouldn't close down.
Collins isn't concerned about how long it could take for the bill to pass. Instead, he believes the temporary closure is a statement designed to bring unity to our community and the country.
We're all going to have to sacrifice something in order to pass this big, beautiful bill, first of all. But we're going to have to realize that and be willing to give up our part. If it's a loss, we'll take that.
I mean, I don't know. Brisket, rib tips, not sure if I'm willing to sacrifice all that. But anyway, here we have more talking about the big, beautiful bill. Pro-energy, pro-America, pro-worker, pro-farmer. This is Secretary Burgum on Fox.
With the big, beautiful bill, this is such a pro-energy, pro-America, pro-worker, pro-farmer bill. We know that Speaker Johnson is going to get this thing across the line, but one of the things that we know that we need to get our economy in a growth mode is to reduce the time, the uncertainty, and the cost that companies face to get permitting in this country. And so Administrator Lee Zeldin, Secretary Chris Wright, myself, and many others are all focused on this. And there's many things we can do to turn around the Biden era. Part of the Biden era permitting was ideological. They just slow rolled everything if it wasn't from a fuel source or an energy source that they cared about. Under President Trump, who's declared a national energy emergency, he has instructed all of us to get this stuff permitted, get it permitted now. He knows we're going up against China in the AI arms race. With the big, beautiful bill, this is such a pro.
Let's see what else is happening in the world today. Pardon me. Okay, here we have. 8 hours ago, spending tax cut bill passes. Senate passes Trump's big bill. Trump's tax bill clears the Senate. Senate passes Trump. These are all the headlines. Mercury News. These are great headlines. Lawrence Journal World. The Minnesota Star Tribune. Trump's tax bill clears Senate as Vance breaks tie. The Houston Chronicle. Senate passes Trump's big tax bill. Man, the fact that we had Vance there to do it for us, God bless him. Here's something from the Treasury Department's X account. Counselor to Secretary Scott Bessent says the one big beautiful bill increases supply side incentives. This guy's brain, his forehead looks like he's got a huge brain, so he must be smart.
You know, in the first Trump administration, growth was nearly 3%. It actually...
Like, seriously, this guy is smart just by looking at his face. Look at that head. I mean, it's no question he belongs in the Trump administration in the Treasury Department. Smart guy. I can see it. You can see it, right? I can see it.
You know, in the first Trump administration, growth was nearly 3%. It actually hit 3.4% in the fourth quarter year on year in 2019, and inflation didn't pick up. The one big beautiful bill, which is making its way through the Congress, as you know, increases supply side incentives to get growth to remain robust through capital investment and capital deepening. Inflation will continue to fall. The inflation news has been great, and that's the thing. If you look at the bond market, the equity market's rallied on a second half.
I mean, I don't understand the damn word he's saying, but he just looks smart, so I'm going to believe him.
And bond market yields are down substantially from where they were earlier in the year. So the capital markets are really responding very positively.
Just spell it out, dude. Are we going to be richer or what?
To what they expect on the inflation side. Break-even inflation's been stable. So again, this notion somehow that inflation's going to pick up, that growth leads to faster inflation, this Phillips curve mindset, if you will, completely wrong. We saw under the first Trump administration, as I said, very strong growth and low inflation. And by the way, I just want to add, the big problem with the CBO's numbers is they're only assuming 1.8% GDP growth. That's woefully too low. If we have a 17.2% revenue share of GDP, which is basically where we are now, and we grow at a much more plausible and realistic 3%, that gives you something like almost an extra $1 trillion in revenue relative to what CBO was forecasting back in January. And that's not even adding the revenues that are coming from the tariffs. So this notion that these deficits are going to stay super high and grow, completely, I think, incorrect, because it's based on a fallacious assumption of sub 2% growth, which is very, very weak. You know, in the first
the fact that this guy is on TV now, he probably sat alone in his lunchroom, his head in the books and just getting smarter and smarter. And now this guy's on TV. He's working for Trump. He's in the administration. He's using big words. I mean, that just proves America is just getting greater and greater every single minute. What else have we got going on here? Rapid Response 47. MSDNC. The White House says Democrats voted against lower taxes, bigger paychecks, stronger national security. What's your response? Here's Representative Angie Craig.
And we're willing. The White House says Senate Democrats voted against lower taxes, bigger paychecks, stronger national security, and more. How do you respond to that?
Well, look, Democrats agree that we need to have strong border security, and we're willing to discuss that in a separate forum. But for goodness sakes, we're talking about just about 60 cents a day in savings for individuals who make $50,000 a year or less.
The White House says Senate Democrats.
Oh, really? Maybe she should talk to the guy from the Treasury Department. You know, that guy was the smart guy. She doesn't seem like a really smart person. Scott Jennings. God, I haven't seen this guy in a while. Always loving. Dumping cold water on CNN host Cassie Hunt's Medicaid fear-mongering, because that's what they do best at CNN.
About this because I used to be I have to say, Scott, him saying I'm not going to vote for Medicaid cuts, and then he voted for this bill, which very clearly does cut Medicaid.
Yeah, but who does it cut Medicaid for? Illegal aliens, people who won't get off grandma's couch despite being able-bodied adults.
Right, but hang on.
It is a protection of the Social Security.
I actually know too much about this because I used to be a healthcare policy reporter on Capitol Hill. Okay, so putting that hat on for a second, the people that are really going to suffer, and the reason this is a problem for Lisa Murkowski and Josh Hawley, are the rural hospitals with emergency rooms into which people like that may walk. Mm-hmm. And if they don't...
Oh, give me a freaking break. You seriously? The rural emergency. I got a railroad spike through my head. I got to go to the emergency room. I don't have insurance. I only have Medicaid, and they just passed a big, beautiful bill. What am I going to do? You go to the emergency room, and they're going to treat you, and they're going to bill you. Duh. CNN. This is what you get on CNN.
Don't have Medicaid, they're not getting any. That hospital is not getting any money from that person or from the federal government.
Well, the Senate included a massive fund for rural hospitals. I think, was it $50 billion, or do they wind up? I forget where they wound up, but a massive fund to cover just what you're talking about. So some care was put into thinking about how do you protect rural hospitals from downside outcomes. So I think that's one of the reasons they're ultimately going to get it over the line, is because they actually work to fix little individual pieces that had people upset about it.
I have to say, Scott, him saying I'm not going to vote.
Oh, yeah. CNN, up to old tricks. What else is going on here? Oh, gas prices are way down. The White House putting out an official montage. How cool is this? This is the official montage from the White House. Did you see that on CNN? Well, maybe. Let's see.
Trends are being...
It's pretty good news for millions of drivers expecting to hit the road for the 4th of July weekend.
It looks like gas prices are about to get cheaper.
Gas prices are currently the lowest that they've been since 2021. They're the lowest since 2021.
Hitting a 4-year low.
This doesn't just apply locally. Trends are being seen nationwide.
Including in Michigan, where it's about 42 cents cheaper to fill up than it was this time last year. Pennsylvania, Illinois, Nevada, a number of other states seeing significant drops.
Gas prices are much lower than we have seen in recent years.
$2.68 per gallon, or more than a dozen stations in Duval and St. Johns County.
The national average could fall below $3 as early as September.
This translates to Americans spending about $500 million less on gasoline this holiday weekend versus last.
The White House using CNN to push their agenda. Gotta love it. CNN producers having coronary in the production rooms. Let's see. Oh, Megyn Kelly. What's she talking about here? The miracle of Butler. God sparing Trump and bringing political parties together. We are not broken. Let's hear this.
Then the miracle.
Why did Bill Maher think that you'd been canceled when you went on with him in December?
Well, I mean, because I jokingly, when as you pointed out earlier, I was supporting Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah.
than the Miracle in Butler and a bullet that would have changed the history of the world.
Speaking of God.
Oh my God, yes. But because of that, then I think the humility that started to run in Donald Trump in a way that I don't know that it even existed prior to that, and him reaching out to Bobby and creating this alliance. And then I go and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm on the Trump train now, one that I was never on prior, but one that I knew I needed to go be on because of the state of everything and the team that he was collecting. And so Tulsi had reached out to me and was like, hey, we're doing this town hall with Bobby.
Why did she reach out to you? Did she see that you were an RFK supporter?
We had a mutual friend that introduced us. A trainer, like a trainer at the gym.
Yeah.
That I knew from a gym here in New York who moved to Austin. And I said, hey, would you come and I want to do a workout. She's like, cool. So we do a workout and we're talking about the state of the world. And I'm like, oh man, that Tulsi Gabbard, I think she's the bee's knees. And she's like, I know Tulsi. I go train Tulsi sometimes. I go, oh wow, I'd love to meet her someday. Cut to a week later, we're sitting down and we're all having coffee. And I'm telling her, I think you're awesome. I love what you stand for. I love that you have the balls to have been Democrat your entire career, but recognize that the party has been lost. The values that it once held, a lot of values that I even agree with, have been lost. And you see that those values have transferred over here and you're supporting Trump. I'm like, that's amazing. I love all that. And I share all these same concerns and I want to be able to help in all of this, but I'm not sure what to do because I'm in Hollywood and that's a wacky thing. And she's like, I get it.
Get kicked out.
And like a week later, I get a text, or a week or two, I don't know what it was. And Tulsi says, listen, we're on the campaign trail for Trump. We're on the campaign trail supporting Trump. Me and Bobby doing town halls. We would love for you to moderate one of those town halls. And I told her, I got to think and pray on this because this is really crossing the Rubicon.
That is definitely crossing.
But I did, and I felt peace. Again, I felt peace. I felt peace because I knew that this was more important than saving my career.
Okay, so we went from TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome in full effect, to the unstoppable news that Trump's train has no brakes. Gas prices down. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Now, the big, beautiful bill, the victory matters because it's not just legislation, it's liberation. Liberation from the tax slavery that's crushed American families for decades. Liberation from regulations that strangle small businesses. Liberation from a government that takes your tips, your overtime, and then tells you to be grateful for the crumbs they leave behind. When Democrats claim that thousands will die from tax cuts, they're exposing their real agenda: keep you dependent, keep you broke, and keep you begging for government handouts. But Trump just flipped the script. Gas prices plummeting, military recruitment surging, the F-47 is coming, barbecue joints shutting down in solidarity because Americans recognize a revolution when they see one. So here's my question to you. Do you trust Democrats who voted against keeping more of your own money? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And while you're fired up, check out our Next News merch shop. It's linked below. We got some new merch. You can see it right there on screen. President Otto Pen, Alligator Alcatraz, No Escape. You can trigger a liberal by simply supporting the Next News Network at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, let's see what we have here. What do you guys think about that story, huh? Let's go. Cassie looks like Carrot Top. Yeah. F-22 Raptors, what you guys said. Let's find out what the real answer was. And it was, in fact, the F-22 Raptor. A was the answer. Well done. F-22 Raptor production ended just after 195 jets due to massive cost overruns, making Trump's F-47 program even more significant. Yeah. Okay. We are on a roll. We have 200 concurrent viewers on YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. Now, here's the question we have now for you next. How many illegals did Operation Wetback deport in its first year? 250,000, 500,000, 1.1 million, or 2.5 million? Operation Wetback, yes, that was a real thing. I don't know the answer. I'm going to say 500,000. We'll just leave it at that. We'll see what happens after this. We'll get the answer next. We'll have the poll up for you in a moment, and you can drop your comments and your answer in the comments or the chat. You know, mass deportations are working when the left starts inventing conspiracy theories. Yeah, conspiracy theories this insane. Right now on TikTok, millions of Americans are being told that ICE is loading illegals onto cargo planes and dumping them into the ocean. You heard that correctly. They think that Trump is conducting aerial executions over the Atlantic. Bodies supposedly washing up on foreign shores. Radar watchers claiming they can track the death flights. This is not satire. This is what passes for resistance in 2025. But while they're spreading the psychotic fantasies, Tom Homan just delivered 5 words that sent every illegal alien in America running for the exits. And what's happening in Houston right now? It's exactly what we voted for, so keep on watching. And while leftists spread wild theories about deportations, the Tuttle Twins is teaching your kids about truth, liberty, and freedom. This is their monthly magazine, and it arms children with real-world lessons about economics, personal responsibility, and limited government. The exact opposite of what they're getting in woke classrooms. Through engaging comics, activities, and stories, kids learn how free markets work, why the Constitution matters, and how to think critically. Right now, you can subscribe a loved one, a granddaughter, a grandson, an aunt, or a niece or a nephew, your own kids, for just a whole year for $56 at TuttleTwins.com/next. Don't let the education establishment indoctrinate your children with socialist nonsense. Give them the tools to understand and defend freedom. That's TuttleTwins.com/next. It's linked below. Okay, let's find out what's going on. This crazy conspiracy theory that's spreading all over the world. Yep, that's what you get. But first, we have this from the Department of Defense. They just published this. 8,500 military personnel have been assigned to Joint Task Force Southern Border. Wow. Let's see what's going on here.
Enhanced detection and monitoring on March 20th, Joint Task Force Southern Border has conducted more than 3,500 patrols, including more than 150 trilateral patrols with CBP and the Mexican military. The strong partnership and coordinated efforts between the Department of Defense and Customs and Border Patrol yielded exceptional results between June 28th and June 30th, with 0 gotaways across the entire southern border during that time frame. We have made incredible progress and will continue to work towards achieving 100% operational control of the border. And the department can...
Boom. Here's Tom Homan, mic drop, when a reporter claims there's widespread fear. Yeah, among the illegals.
Looking for you. There's widespread fear among... If you're in the country legally, you should be concerned. It's not okay to be in the country legally. If you're a national security threat, you should be worried. We're looking for you. There's widespread fear.
You should be worried because we're looking for you. 6 hours ago, Homeland Security posting this: big, beautiful border security. Trump's big, beautiful bill is critical for permanently securing our border for generations to come. It'll provide DHS with funding needed to arrest, detain, and deport criminal illegal aliens. And what is this? What is this guy? Steve Mudflap McGrew. Oh, this must be one of those conspiracy theorists. Did you know Trump has cargo planes taking deportees out in the middle of the ocean? Okay, so here we have it.
Oh, I can't believe I've just heard this. Did you know this? Trump, if he has ordered the illegals to be shackled, flown out over the ocean, and thrown out into the ocean. That's right. How is it possible? Just taking people, just ripping them off the streets, ripping your friends, your neighbors, your relatives. He's taking them, putting metal on them like the slaves of the past, flying them out over the ocean, and throwing them out him in court. We tried everything, and now he's throwing people out in the ocean to be eaten by sharks and whales. What has America become? The fascists, they're feeding us to the fish. I can't believe it.
Okay, I don't know, man. I don't believe this guy for a minute. I don't believe it for 1 minute. Felt like overacting to me. Rape proposed community note. This guy is Steve McGrew. It's one of many parodies. It's a joke, not a male appendage, so don't take it so hard. This is a conspiracy theory. No news outlets are reporting this. If this was actually true, many news outlets would jump on a story like this. Yeah. So this guy's, this is performance art, but there are people that actually believe this. Okay. Here you have this from TEDx, TED World 4, 8 hours ago, replying to John Rich. Yeah, this is happening right now. This is what they say. Yeah, this is happening right now. There's a radar tracking, took off from Jacksonville ICE Detention Center in an unidentified aircraft, now busy dumping illegals into the ocean. Not even shackling them now, just randomly dropping them so they can huddle up and stay afloat. What does this world come to? Okay, and then they post a picture of radar tracking, claiming that this conspiracy theory is in fact true. And the sad part is people believe this. People actually believe this. Okay, what? This is not, okay, Kim Katie USA posting, this is not the Babylon Bee. Leftist conspiracy nuts are now pushing the conspiracy theory that illegal aliens are being loaded onto cargo planes and dumped into the ocean. These videos are all over social media now.
Because this is insane, and if it's true, then it could change everything. I knew there was something about these deportations that just didn't sit right with me, and then I found this story about a man in Colorado. His name is Alvin, and it looks like he's been trying to get this story out for the past 2 weeks now. Long story short, Alvin expresses his worry that his brother that was taken by ICE and in quotations deported is no longer alive because Alvin is friends with people that work for private contractors, okay? One of which seems to have a pretty high up rank in the military. Alvin stated that his friend claimed that they were being paid to drop off people in the middle of the ocean. I say people because they are humans as well, regardless of how you want to feel about them being here illegally in quotations. Anyways, Alvin's trying to get the word out about what types of planes that these military private contractors have been using. Well, turns out that they're primarily cargo planes, the same cargo planes of which many of you might know open up at the back. And they don't really have any seats, and the seats of which they do have are extremely comfortable. I can tell you from my own personal experiences. But see, this is where Alvin's story gets extremely disturbing, because he stated that most of the planes that, let's just say, have been transporting are disappearing off of radar, and that his friends stated that that is when they do the in quotations drop. He also stated that these specific locations of where these drops are taking place are usual feeding grounds for sharks. So just
okay, look, what you're seeing here, what this guy's saying, this is so dangerous. This is like a TikTok trend now, I guess. People making up these stories so they go viral, and they're just making up outrageous stories. I mean, I could tell just by this guy's own demeanor, this is another one of those, satire guys. I'm sure if I dug deeper, I went to his official account, I'd see all kinds of videos just like this on some other story. Yeah, my friend who's working in the military and told me this, and by personal experience, I know. Well, give me a break. But again, the sad part is there are going to be people who believe this to be a fact.
Try to imagine that for 1 second. Now, I don't know how much there is to this story, as he seems to obviously be in panic mode, but also on the run. And I want to know if somebody can track those specific planes and find out if and when they're disappearing off of radar. And at that moment, it would become the biggest story to ever be aired. And do you know why? Well, research into this for me, okay? Because I'm not entirely sure that I can tell you everything about this specific event on TikTok. But during Argentina's last military dictatorship, which lasted from 1976 to 1983, by the way, if you didn't know, a horrific practice known as, in quotations, death flights was...
Okay, enough of this guy. I'm sure that's not the last, though. Oh, here we have another one. The news is not covering this, okay? Here's another. The possibility of cargo planes dropping deportees from the sky. My goodness.
Open that. I feel fucking sick right now. We all know they've been loading immigrants onto planes and deporting them. But what I just learned is they've been shackling their hands and feet and putting them onto these military cargo planes that have the capability to open that back door mid-flight. 5 bodies shackled at the hands and feet washed up near Mallorca, Spain. Recently, there has been a drastic increase in flight of these planes, and their flight path goes just into international waters.
Oh, man. This is so dangerous. Okay, is there another one? Holy cow.
The deportees out of the planes and into the ocean. No, this is not a drill. No, this is not fear-mongering. They're shackling people.
Okay, so this woman, she appears to be one of the people that actually believe it. The last few that we just watched, I believe those were just repeats of the same satirical claim. And now we have someone who's like, I just saw this on TikTok. Oh, my God.
Flying out into open ocean and throwing them out. Okay? The flight patterns, there's people tracking them on this app. The flights going out with the deportees, watching them go out to open ocean.
Notice the hairy armpit here. Did you see that? Did you?
The flights going out with the deportees, watching them go out to open ocean and circle back. A family in Italy saw 5 shackled bodies wash up on the shore.
Okay, how is that even possible? In Italy? What does the current go from the Atlantic all the way into the Mediterranean Sea, all the way to Italy, carrying these bodies? I don't think they'd make it that far, honey. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assume your gender.
No, but seriously, on everything that you stand for, whether it's bullshit, consumerist propaganda, or actual leftist good values, or whatever.
Leftist good values. Okay, note the username. It might be difficult to see. I can see it closely here. This is user Ryan the Witch. RYN the Witch.
Whatever the fuck it is you believe in, things are getting serious. I know I'm a small creator and the likelihood that I am shadow banned is very small, but I'm telling you, I'm fairly certain I am shadow banned because I talk about this stuff. If you look at my like to view ratios, they're great. I have several viral videos. I
have viral videos, so you can trust me and my hairy armpits, right? Yeah, she seems like one of those low IQ individuals who fell for it. Okay, let's see what else we've got going on here. Secretary Rollins, moving right along. Talking about the millions of illegal aliens that are here, 1% are in the farm industry.
We need to focus. It is important to realize.
And remember, they kept saying, who's going to pick the crops? Remember that? Pelosi said that. If they deport everybody, who's going to change our bed sheets in our 5-star hotels? Who's going to bus our tables? Yeah, talk about stereotyping, right? That's what the left does best. Who's going to pick our crops?
It is important to realize that of the millions, perhaps tens of millions, that illegal aliens that are here in America, only 1% of those are in the farm industry. So I think a lot of this gets topsy-turvy, and that's why the president has said we need to focus on the big cities, on L.A., on New York, on the sanctuary cities, where a lot of these illegal aliens, the criminal pieces, all of them are being housed, and really working to move that out. But never forget or take our eye off the ball that we really have to have a system with 100% legal workforce, but doing it in a cadence where you're not imploding the food supply. Listen, we lose our abundant food supply. We have real national security implications in this country. So it's supporting the farmers and ranchers. It's effectuating his vision of 100% legal workforce, but also ensuring that our food supply stays safe and abundant.
Yeah, so don't worry, Pelosi. All right? Your avocados are still going to get picked. What else have we got here? FBI... Red Wave Press reports that the FBI has arrested 16 illegal immigrant anti-Tren gang members. Is this a new one? I know there's Tren de Aragua, but is this like their opposing force? Anti-Tren gang members and associates in Houston, Texas, charged with trafficking. This is part of a DOJ press release. Let's see what Fox is reporting.
Custody facing federal agent scoring the biggest takedown yet of the anti-Trendiagra gang, a violent group made up of former TDA members.
All right, Lucas Simonson joins us live with the details. Lucas.
Well, good morning, Lawrence. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Texas, which I know gets your attention, includes Houston announcing the arrest of these former Trendiagra gang members, now turned rivals. These 16 anti-Trend members, as they are called, are in custody facing drug trafficking and weapons charges. The special agent in charge of the FBI field office in Houston says this is the largest arrest of suspected anti-Trend members. If convicted, the suspects face up to life in prison and a possible $10 million fine. The case is part of Operation Take Back America, a nationwide initiative by the DOJ under Attorney General Pam Bondi's leadership to, quote, repel the invasion of illegal immigration and total elimination of cartels and transnational criminal organizations. While the focus at President Trump's news conference Friday at the White House focused on the Supreme Court decision striking down those national injunctions from lower courts, Attorney General Bondi made some news of her own. When she spoke from the podium, said she reported the federal authorities have arrested more than 2,700 alleged gang members of the Venezuelan Trendiagra gang. Bondi called the gang one of the most violent criminal organizations in the world, which received national attention after they took over these apartment complexes.
So that's happening. Good news there. Liberals are hallucinating. What's this? New federal operation will neutralize sanctuary state policies. This is what I voted for. What's this about?
Forced in a Fox exclusive, you're watching an incredibly rare interaction as the jail in Los Angeles transfers an illegal alien to ICE custody. The sanctuary jurisdiction forced to hand this Mexican national over thanks to a first-of-its-kind federal operation.
With this operation, we're going to be neutralizing California's sanctuary state policies.
Bill Asaley is the U.S. attorney in L.A. and the architect of Operation Guardian Angel.
California is the testing ground on this. We are one of the largest sanctuary jurisdictions.
All right, guys, thanks for circling up. So how does it work? Asaley has created a federal task force made up of ICE, HSI, FBI, DEA, and ATF, all working together out of this office in downtown L.A.
How's his criminal history? He's got the domestic violence.
They scan these criminal databases daily to find illegal aliens in local jails who have been previously deported from the United States.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
If they've returned to the U.S., they've committed a federal felony known as illegal reentry. And Asaley's office will immediately seek a criminal arrest warrant against them, which, unlike an ICE detainer, sanctuary jails can't ignore.
We're going to flood the system with warrants for criminal illegal immigrants that are in county jails. They can ignore a detainer, but they cannot ignore a criminal arrest warrant.
Suck it. You're going home. Here's Ben Berquam. Love this guy. What's he saying? Ran into some commie ICE protesters in Houston, Texas, and he had to get out and have a little fun. Let's see what kind of fun Ben's having.
God bless ICE. Look at these losers. God bless ICE. I'm going to go talk to him. So I had to pull over here and go say hi to these retards. God bless these guys. Appreciate your service. And then you got these losers. God bless ICE. They want ICE out of Houston. God bless ICE. We want more ICE in Houston. More ICE in America. We love ICE. Deport all illegals. Yeah. What's that? You're gonna fight your passing through? No. I'm using my First Amendment right, just like you guys are. Yeah, but you guys on the other side, but we already. What's that? You scheduled it, so you rented this sidewalk out. So this sidewalk is not. I get it. Okay. You mean like you guys trying to kill ICE, trying to dox ICE, protecting criminals and illegals? So I'm able to walk, I just can't stop. You guys can stop, but I can't? You're antagonizing. What do you mean I'm antagonizing? Please walk through. You don't have to walk through, but I do? Okay, cool, thank you. So this is it, guys. These are the communist leftists that want ICE out of Houston, they want ICE out of Texas, but they want criminals and illegals. How many rapists, how many murderers? How many rapists and murderers are okay? How many terrorists are okay? We've got his terrorist little his little wrap around his neck here. I'm sure he loves the terrorists, Hamas terrorists in Palestine. What do you think about October 7th? Anything? We got a Mexican flag over here. So the question is, if you say Viva Mexico, why don't you Viva in Mexico? We got a lot of people saying Viva Mexico, but they don't Viva in Mexico.
Gotta love Ben Bergquam. Going right to the source. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is right now. So this story matters because it exposes the complete mental breakdown of the anti-Trump resistance. When you're so desperate to stop deportations, you invent fantasies about cargo planes dumping bodies in the ocean. You've lost the argument and you've lost your mind. But here is the beautiful irony. While leftists spread TikTok conspiracies about imaginary death flights, real criminals are actually being rounded up. 16 anti-trend gang members arrested, ICE beds completely full, sanctuary cities crumbling, alligator Alcatraz is filling up. And Tom Homan's message was crystal clear. If you're here illegally, you should be afraid. That's not cruelty. That's law and order finally returning to America. The fear has switched sides, folks. For 4 years, law-abiding Americans lived in fear of criminal aliens, and now the criminals fear the law. So here's my question. Should sanctuary city mayors who harbor violent illegals face federal prosecution? Simple yes or no in the comments. And while you're at it, grab some Next News gear from our shop, link below. Our new Alligator Alcatraz swag and President Auto Pen, and of course our new American Badass series. You got to check it out. It's all linked at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, where you can trigger a liberal today. All right, where are we at now? Let's find out. Okay, we got a super chat. God bless America. Got a super chat in the house. And a member. This is JS Prado 90. Welcome to the family. And then Craig in Nebraska reporting for duty. He is breaking the ice with the first super chat of the night. Thank you. He says, Nebraska reporting for duty. The new dude did great. Glad you're back. God bless everyone here tonight. Yes, God bless everyone. Okay, we got it. Oh, Deplorable Diva. Check it out. $2. Bunker Busters plus San Andreas Fault. Boom, done. $2. And your message was transmitted to everyone. Okay, let's go to our trivia question here. The answer was C, 1.1 million. You guys got it right. I got it wrong. $1.1 million. Eisenhower's Operation Wetback deported over 1 million illegals in just 1 year, showing that mass deportation is possible when there is political will. Moving into our next trivia question of the evening. Which Democrat think tank created the original Project Policy Blueprint? Project Policy Blueprint. A, Brookings Institution. C, Center for Progress. B, Center for Progress. C, Heritage Foundation. Or D, Atlantic Council. I'm going with Heritage. I like those guys over there. So I'm going to say Heritage. Well, we're going to find out after this. And you guys can, of course, weigh in the poll or in the comments or in the chat room. Okay. Remember when the Democrats spent an entire year shrieking about Project 2025? They called it fascist, theocratic, and the end of democracy itself. Well, guess what? These hypocrites have just announced with a straight face their own Project 2029. Not making it up. Same party that had mental breakdowns over conservative policy planning literally just copied the format, slapped a new number on it, and acted like they invented something revolutionary. CNN, yes, already running puff pieces. Jon Stewart's been recruited to make it sound cool. But here's the kicker. It's being led by the exact same Biden cronies who gave us record inflation, open borders, and dead Marines in Kabul. This is not innovation. This is desperation wearing a cheap disguise. So keep watching. We've got all the details. And while Democrats desperately copy Republican strategies with their doomed Project 2029, smart Americans are taking control of their health with real solutions. Collagen production. Do you know this? It drops dramatically as we age. By our 40s, we are losing 1% each year. Man, so I've lost 8% since I turned 40. Yeah, I just turned 48, guys. But that's why I use BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen. This contains 5 key types of collagen from 4 premium sources, all hydrolyzed for maximum absorption. No clumping, no taste, no smell. Just mix it into your coffee or your smoothie. Plus, it's clean. No GMOs. That's why RFK Jr. loves it. No artificial ingredients, no gluten for those gluten intolerant folks, no antibiotics either, and guess what? No hormones. So visit healthwithgary.com, linked in the description. You'll get 51% off plus free shipping and a bonus skincare guide. Look at my skin. Isn't it beautiful? Go to healthwithgary.com. You'll find out more. Okay, so let's go into what is happening here with our Project 2029. Democrats trying to propose moving forward with new ideas, and that's what this 2029 project is, which I think is interesting given how much grief they give into some of the ideas that was called Project 25. Okay, so here's Fox News report on it. Let's hear.
Yeah. Trying to Fox News contributors. So let me put up on the screen some of the brain trust behind Project 2029. And at the top of the list are Neera Tanden and Jake Sullivan. Neera Tanden, who's been around since the Clinton administration. Jake Sullivan, who, of course, was tied to the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. I mean, this would seem to be literally the same old gang trying to retread Democratic policies instead of a new set of tires on a new car.
Yeah, the top 2 names there certainly stick out given they are affiliated with the Biden administration and the disastrous policies the American people saw with the 4 years of Joe Biden in the White House. Democrats are in this place where they need to do a moratorium to figure out what exactly went wrong. They're trying to propose moving forward with new ideas. That's what this 2029 project is, which I think is so interesting given how much grief they gave the Trump campaign for daring to give in to some of the ideas in what was called Project 25. And yet they're going forward with this. And they're interesting because you look at the debate they're having inside the Democratic Party, and they're saying, on one hand, they're warming to some of these policies that Trump has put out, no tax on tips, for example. On the other hand, some of them think they just have a messaging problem rather than a policy problem. And Neera Tanden in particular is the head of the Center for American Progress, a very far left think tank here in Washington, D.C. When you look at the national electorate during the presidential election, every county shifted to the right, essentially, in the country. And so for them to bring in not someone who's a centrist necessarily, this moderate, elusive moderate Democrat we're trying to find, you have someone who is leading one of the most far-left academic institutions in the country trying to reshape the Democratic Party, which tells you it's a very far-left leaning party.
So here's how the...
Okay, here's CNN. CNN. Democrats Project 2029, the group chat shares their thoughts on this new strategy agenda. CNN this morning.
Now, Democrats may be getting ready to make a book of their own. They're going to call it Project 2029 for the next presidential election. According to a report in the New York Times, outside Democratic strategists plan to roll out an agenda over the next 2 years. Ultimately, quote, the goal is to turn it into a book, just like Project 2025, and to rally leading Democratic presidential candidates behind those ideas during the 2028 primary season. The group chat is back, where Jerusalem Demsis is already chuckling. You might have wanted to have given it a minute until I had finished. What is it about this that to you?
We just saw this lineup of Democrats holding up Project 2025, and it was a big albatross around the neck of Donald Trump. He tried to disavow it. He said it wasn't about him. He said, obviously he's actually passing many of these policies now, but he saw it as a negative over-explanation of many of the more unpopular parts of his agenda. And now Democrats are like, let's copy the thing that almost helped Trump lose last time? Why won't call it something else? Why don't you call it like a plan to make America, better or whatever?
That's not sexy, and that's why that's not
A plan to make America better? Why don't you just call it Make America Great Again 2029?
your job.
Well, that's
so let me move on. Here's the thing about Project 2025. First of all, it was very good at whittling down ideas and distilling them, gathering the quote-unquote best minds of the community, creating a kind of loyalty benchmark for do you agree with this, do you not, and also creating a scenario where they actually then went on to implement huge chunks of it. So for you, do you actually look at this and see, is it just silly?
It's I feel like I'm watching The View and Whoopi Goldberg's on the left side with her mop on her head.
To call it Project 2029, or was there something there that you see worth emulating?
For Democrats in 2029, I don't really care what it's called. It's going to be the ideas and the candidate that is going to drive this. The reason why Project 2025 works so well is because Trump was an empty vessel. He didn't have any ideas of his own, except for maybe one or two, the tariffs, which we know he talked about forever. He didn't have any ideas, and so it was easy to insert these horrendous extremist ideas into him that he now is calling his own.
When I was researching the project of 2025, one of the things they said...
Okay, whatever. Okay, what else have we got here? The Daily Show's Jon Stewart nails it. Market Crafters is Project 2029 for Democrats, a roadmap for how we bring down costs and craft markets to meet the needs of families like affordable health care, housing, and children. Now, we can't play a clip from the Comedy Central, but Jon Stewart out there cheerleading for it, of course. Kenny G, Texas for Trump, posts after losing their minds for months over Project 2025. Democrats are now crafting their own Project 2029. Anthony Lafrate. Here we have another one. They're calling it Project 2029. Another headline. Project Constitution. Democrat planned reboot. It's already doomed from the start. Let's listen to Fox.
And improve. All right, Sandra, former Biden White House officials are leading the charge on a new project promising to be a, quote, new and improved playbook for the Democrats. It's called Project 2029, and they're hoping it will win them the presidency in 2028. Joining me now is Katie Pavlich, Fox News contributor. So let me put up on the screen some of the brain trust behind Project 2029. And at the top of the list are Neera Tanden and Jake Sullivan. Neera Tanden, who's been around since the Clinton administration. Jake Sullivan, who, of course, was tied to the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. I mean, this would seem to be literally the same old gang trying to retread Democratic policies instead of a new set of tires on a new car.
Yeah, the top two names there certainly stick out given they are affiliated with the Biden administration and the disastrous policies the American people saw with the 4 years of Joe Biden in the White House. Democrats are in this place where they need to do a moratorium to figure out what exactly went wrong. They're trying to propose moving forward with new ideas. That's what this 2029 project is, which I think is so interesting given how much grief they gave the Trump campaign for daring to give into some of the ideas in what was called Project 25. And yet they're going forward with this. And they're interesting because you look at the debate they're having inside the Democratic Party, and they're saying, on one hand, they're warming to some of these policies that Trump has put out, no tax on tips, for example. On the other hand, some of them think they just have a messaging problem rather than a policy problem. And Neera Tanden in particular is the head of the Center for American Progress, a very far left think tank.
So there you have it. You ready for my final thought? If you got value from this report, tap subscribe, because here's my final thought. Project 2029 matters because it reveals everything wrong with the modern Democrat Party. Zero originality, zero vision, and zero self-awareness. After demonizing Project 2025 as an existential threat to democracy, they turn around and create their own version. That's not just hypocrisy. It's admission that conservative planning works. But here is what they don't understand. Project 2025 succeeded because it offered a real solution to real problems. Project 2029 is a warmed-over socialism program wrapped in a stolen format. More government control, higher taxes, and the same failed policies that gave us the Biden disaster. And they're calling it market craft, which is just bureaucrat speak for government manipulation of free markets. If you can't fake a movement, folks, That's what you do. You can't manufacture momentum. So they create this. So here's my question. Will Project 2029 even survive until 2026? Yes or no? Let me know below. And you can show your support for real change with next news from our merch shop. Alligator Alcatraz t-shirts, President Otto pen, MAG Avengers hats. You can trigger a liberal today by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, what do we have here? We got a super chat come through from Wyatt Earp. Glad you found us. Did you get a notification, Wyatt? Probably not. No one did. We are at $10 here, so he says, what a day. This is, what do you call it? Chomp Day. $10. Thank you. And Craig has gifted a membership to Millennium Man 75. Welcome to the family, Millennium Man. Welcome to the family. Okay, you guys said C, Heritage Foundation. Well, the actual answer was B, Center for Progress. I got it wrong too. Center for Progress, B. The irony is Democrats attacking conservative projects when liberal think tanks pioneered the format decades ago. Okay. All right. Next question of the evening here. When did Title IX originally pass to protect women's sports? 1972, A. B, 1984, C, 1991, or D, 1965? Ooh. That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm going to just throw a dart and just say 1991. Sounds maybe about right, 1991. I'm not going to go as far back as 65, though. Yeah, I can see that, clearly. So we deal with it, because that's how it is. When you work on the internet, you're at the mercy of the bandwidth capacity. And that's why we look all blurry right now. Should clear up in a minute. Or not. I mean, what can I say? Let's just move right along. So the left is having a complete meltdown, and it's glorious to watch. First, they're claiming tens of thousands of Americans will literally die because of tax cuts. Yes, Hakeem Jeffries actually said that, but that's not even the craziest part. Democrats are now calling it cruelty to let working families keep their tips, protect family farms from death taxes, and give parents bigger child tax credits. Meanwhile, biological men are being stripped of women's sports titles. Female athletes are getting their records back, and the NCAA's woke experiment is officially over. The same week, Democrats vote against putting money in your pocket. Trump's putting trophies back in the hands of real women. The contrast couldn't be clearer, so keep watching. While Democrats claim the world will end from tax cuts, real Americans are protecting what matters, including our bee populations. That's what keeps our food chain alive. Patriot Bee Best is more than a digital sanctuary. It's a movement to restore and preserve American bees. This veteran-owned business provides crucial education about bee conservation, bee-friendly initiatives, and practical resources for patriots who understand that food security starts with pollinators. For less than 17 cents a day, you can support both this show and bee restoration efforts across America. Visit patriotbeebest.com to subscribe, donate, or just learn more. You can use promo code NEXTNEWS to save 25%. Catch the buzz at patriotbeebest.com. All right, what is going on? Education Secretary Linda McMahon announces that Penn will be sending personal apologies to every female athlete who was forced to compete against a male. Check this out.
The university will be sending a personal apology to every female athlete who was forced to compete against a man.
What do you think about them apples, huh? President Trump kept his promise, protecting women's sports. With support from Education Secretary McMahon, Penn will now restore female records update Title IX policies and apologize to women athletes, a major win for women across America, keeping men out of women's sports.
Biological male. My name is Paula Scanlon, and I'm a former swimmer from the University of Pennsylvania. My name is Riley Gaines. I was a swimmer at the University of Kentucky.
I was permanently injured at the hands of a man when I was forced to play against him in a high school volleyball game.
I was forced to compete against a biological male on my middle school track team.
I had to compete against 2 biological males throughout all 4 years of high school. Trump's admin and the Department of Education have gone to the University of Pennsylvania not just to apologize for what they did to me and other female athletes that were forced to compete against and alongside this male athlete, but they also got them to change their policies and to take down his records from the board, which is a great win.
The stories we heard brought tears to all of our eyes. It was powerful. It was moving. I'm so excited for the announcement from Secretary McMahon and President Trump today as they stand at the forefront of this issue for women and girls everywhere.
And I am so thankful that we finally have an administration in office who is willing to stand up and ensure that no other girl has to experience the pain and heartbreak I went through.
I'm just very excited that the Trump administration is taking action to protect girls.
We're fighting for the next generation, young girls like my daughter. So just very, very grateful and excited for what this means.
Isn't that beautiful? Finally. Here we have Democrat House Minority Leader, Meltdown. Says tens of thousands of people will die every year if Trump's big, beautiful bill passes.
Yeah. And as a result, people are going to die connected to this one big ugly bill. Tens of thousands of unnecessary American deaths per year. Shame on Republicans for even bringing this bill to the House floor. And as a result,
shame. White House, this is MSDNC. White House says Democrats voting against lower taxes, bigger paychecks, stronger national security. What's your response? Here is Representative Annie Craig.
To discuss. The White House says Senate Democrats voted against lower taxes, bigger paychecks, stronger national security, and more. How do you respond to that?
Well, look, Democrats agree that we need to have strong border security, and we're willing to discuss that in a separate forum. But for goodness sakes, we're talking about just about 60 cents a day in savings for individuals who make $50,000 a year or less.
The White House says Senate Democrats voted.
Let's keep going. We got more news here. Representative McBride says it's cruelty to give working Americans their largest tax cut in history. It's cruelty.
Do they even care? Every yes vote shows very clearly that they don't. This bill is trickle-down cruelty, and people will die because of it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do they even care?
Yeah, that's the narrative. Here we have the UPenn swimmer Leah Thomas being stripped of his titles thanks to the Trump administration.
Here, they're like, oh, we respect Leah as a woman, as a trans woman, whatever. We respect her identity. We just don't think it's fair. You can't really have that sort of half support where you're like, oh, I respect her as a woman here, but not here. They're using the guise of feminism to sort of push transphobic beliefs. And I think a lot of people. Oh, my goodness.
Seriously. And here we have. Are these cops, or do they just identify as cops? What's this?
All right, guys, we got gold. Guys, I have a problem with all this pride shit. All this shit costs money, and it doesn't serve a purpose. Okay. North Miami Beach. How you doing, ma'am? How's everything? All right, guys, we got Golden Beach. Where's Golden Beach? Isn't that in Broward? Yeah. Miami-Dade County? All right, we're going to have to pass by and check that place out. Golden Beach. All right, guys, we got all these pride vehicles. It's a waste of money, you know. We don't need this. Government isn't supposed to be paying for this shit. The government is not supposed to be supporting pride. Guys, let me show you something. Let me show you something. They got the pride flag right here, right? They got a pride flag right there. But if we put a don't tread on me flag, everybody would be going crazy. You know, and we have the Second Amendment right to protect us. But if we put a don't tread on me flag, everybody's gonna go nuts. But look at how they put the pride flag there. Political. These people are playing politics with your money. All of this shit costs money. It doesn't serve a purpose. It serves a political purpose. Look at this shit. Look at this waste of money. All these cops standing around, $50 an hour, not doing shit.
But they have pride. Don't forget. Here we have Rapid Response 47. Literally no one cares about Democrats' lies on the one big beautiful bill. People are just walking past them.
As are the doctors.
This is the Democratic Doctors Caucus. And people just ignoring them as they walk by. Daily Caller News Foundation.
Democratic Doctors Caucus. We have cared for the sickest patients in our communities. As physicians, we didn't care if someone was a Democrat or a Republican. In fact, that is never an issue that you address. We just care for people. And let me be clear. The big, ugly...
The reporter's just following this representative right past the caucus.
Betrayal bill will hurt people. You cannot cut $1 trillion in healthcare and not devastate our healthcare community. This is not fiscal responsibility. It's a smash and grab robbery of our healthcare system to give billionaires tax breaks.
There's people walking past are like, we just want to go on a tour of the Capitol. We didn't want to get lectured by a bunch of pretend doctors in lab coats.
While we're here, let's do some back of the napkin math and talk about what $1 trillion really could do. It could provide a full year of mental health care to hundreds of millions of people. It could.
I mean, the only people paying attention is the Daily Caller News Foundation. And then we play it here for you guys so we can laugh at them.
Cover the cost of giving birth for roughly 70 million women. It could help ensure that no family in this country goes bankrupt for paying for prescription.
Yeah, keep talking, honey. No one's listening. What is this? What is this? Hang on. Governor Pritzker, is this real? Okay, I guess this is a real interview. My governor. Is this real? Is this really him? Good God.
Whenever I hear people, and because of some schedule movement, I ended up speaking right after Bernie Sanders. and Bernie Sanders was, he's Bernie Sanders, right? And and you know exactly what he's going to say, but he was railing against wealthy billionaires, Yeah. And whenever I hear people sort of talk about the billionaire class, I know they're talking about other people, right? And not me.
No, they're talking about you, fat ass.
Because I'm a progressive, right? I know they're talking about other people, right? And not me because I'm a progressive, right? And because of some schedule movement, I ended up speaking.
Oh yeah, good God, our state is so screwed. What do we have here? PETA decided to protest against some restaurants in a small town in Kentucky. They drove around town in a van with pictures of chickens in cages on the outside walls of the van. They were even playing distressed chicken sounds across the loudspeakers.
Size chicken transport truck. Small town in Kentucky, and you're going to play distressed bird sounds in front of a locally owned business. Shame on you. Go to a big city and do that.
Locals flocked downtown, carrying buckets of chicken and homemade signs. A response to PETA's latest campaign, Hell on Wheels, a life-size chicken transport truck covered in images of birds bound for slaughter. If you didn't see the mobile billboard cruising up and down Main Street, you might have heard it. Notified ahead of time, police say PETA had planned to park their truck near Galvin's restaurant. With no open spots, they circled the block for about an hour.
The community has always stepped up to help us. Yes. Every time, 100%.
But something like this happens that makes news, and you hope the community's got your back, and then days like today you figure it out.
PETA member Amber Canavan says they're targeting popular downtown restaurants with meat on the menu. And regardless of the reaction, their goal is to make people think.
Small town in Kentucky.
Yeah, sounds like we got to call Buffalo Wild Wings. If you got value from this report, tab subscribe. My final thought is next. So why does this story matter? Because it exposes Democrats' complete disconnect from reality and common sense. Hakeem Jeffries claiming tens of thousands will die from tax cuts. It's not political rhetoric. That is mental illness. These people are so desperate to oppose Trump, they're literally arguing against letting Americans keep more of their own money, against protecting family farms, against women competing fairly in sports. Think about that insanity for a second. Meanwhile, Trump just restored sanity to women's athletics. Leah Thomas stripped of titles, real female athletes getting their records back, UPenn forced to apologize. This is what protecting women actually looks like, not empty slogans and virtue signaling. And the left's meltdown proves they've got nothing left but fear-mongering and fake outrage. So here's my question. Which is more insane, claiming tax cuts will kill people or letting men dominate women's sports? Drop your answer in the comments below. And while you're there, check out Next News merch. We've got our new Alligator Alcatraz line, our President Otto pen line, and you need to see the American Badass series. Yeah, trigger a liberal today and visit shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, we've got $10 from Tom B. What's Tom saying here? Remember when buying fireworks this year? The guy with 3 fingers and an eye patch has the best ones. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes too much sense, actually. Okay, where are we going from here? Ah, yes, we have our trivia question. Our trivia answer, I should say. The answer was A. You guys said 1972. Well done. I got it wrong. Answer 1972. Title IX protected women's sports for 50 years until woke ideology tried to destroy it, and Trump just restored it to its original purpose. All right, let's get to our next story of the evening and our trivia question, of course, before it. Let's see here. So, Todd, is this Diddy 72? That's the one. I don't see a T number before it, so I just have to assume that's what it is. Is that, am I correct in Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Which mob lawyer defended John Gotti before becoming a federal prosecutor? Was it A, Rudy Giuliani, B, James Comey, C, Robert Mueller, or D, Andrew Weissman? Huh. Mob lawyer. Well, Giuliani is the only Italian name that's listed there. I don't know that of his history, but maybe he was. So I'm going to say A, based on his last name. All right, we're going to find out what you guys say. You're already saying it's A, Rudy Giuliani. We're going to find out after the segment. And you can drop your answer in the poll or in the chat or in the comments. What just happened in that Manhattan courtroom should terrify every American who still believes in justice. Sean Diddy Combs just walked on the most serious charges, and the prosecutor who let it happen has a very familiar last name, Comey. Yes, James Comey's daughter, Maurene, just pulled off another elite acquittal, and the stench of cover-up is overwhelming. Diddy's own bodyguard has fled the country in fear for his life. The feds never got those blackmail tapes that they were after. And outside the courthouse, his supporters celebrated with baby oil in scenes so degenerate I can't even describe them on air. This is not justice, folks. This is the deep state protecting its own. Again, keep watching. We've got the details. And while the justice system protects elite predators, you can protect your children's minds with the Tuttle twins. Remember, freedom is never more than one generation from extinction, and that's why the Tuttle twins created the most effective Liberty First content for kids. Their monthly magazine teaches children about economics, liberty, and personal responsibility through engaging comics, activities, and real-world lessons. Your kids will learn how free markets work, why the Constitution matters, and how to think critically. The exact opposite of government school indoctrination. Subscribe a loved one as a gift for an entire year for just $56 at TuttleTwins.com/next. Do not let them brainwash your children. Teach them to think for themselves. So the memes are coming in fast and furious. Here's one of the first to hit the interwebs. Yeah. Yeah, O.J. Simpson meme. Remember the black gloves? O.J. Simpson? Diddy with his baby oil. Okay, well, what's who we have here? Lex Guardia. This is freaking Spanish. I can't speak this. What is this? Seriously? Okay. Sean Diddy Combs, former bodyguard, big homie, has fled the United States, saying he fears for his life if Diddy is free. He says that based on what he has already said publicly, he's certain Diddy will come after him. I know if he leaves, I'll be the number one target. And here he is on Piers Morgan.
Our old lifestyle. If he does walk, though, would you already fear about reprisals against you just for speaking out? Would you be genuinely concerned about him coming after you? Is that one of the reasons you've left the country? Well, here's the thing, only thing I fear is God and my mom. And I made a promise to my mom that, I'm not gonna revert to an old lifestyle. And I know if he walks, I'm gonna be target number one, which is fine. I'm used to that. It's kind of exciting for me. Is that exciting or is that slightly scary? Oh, no, it's definitely exciting, Piers. Really? Yeah. Explain that, because in my world, I wouldn't find that exciting. Well, we come from different professions. Yes. In my profession, it's what we live for. Well, being someone's number one target. Absolutely. Really? Yeah.
Wow. Who would want that? Oh, here's some more memes. Diddy's courtroom picture. Yeah. Okay, Maurene Comey, C3 writes, Maurene Comey fixed another one. Deep state blackmail operation, saved just like Epstein. Diddy walks on appeal, just wait. Okay, so here is the verdict. Not guilty, count 1, racketeering, conspiracy. Not guilty, count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Count 3, guilty, transportation to engage in prostitution. Count 4, not guilty, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Count 5, guilty, transportation to engage in prostitution. So those are the charges as they stand. Guilty on counts 3 and 4. Transportation to engage in prostitution. And here is Maurene Comey, James Comey's daughter, the prosecutor in the Diddy case, also in the Ghislaine Maxwell case and the Epstein case. Sassafras84 says, doesn't surprise me he was acquitted of the more serious charges. What's Alex have to say?
One of the top stories. Now, the P. Diddy verdict came in, as you know, in the last few hours. And in and of itself, it's very tawdry, and a lot of people followed it like it was a soap opera. And so it's obviously been one of the top stories for months and months and months. And he was found not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, not guilty on sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, guilty on transportation to engage in prostitution, not guilty for sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. That was count 4. Count 5, guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. So basically, being a pimp. Now, what he did and what he's been convicted of is completely legal in places like Las Vegas. So, what really happened here? Well, the mere fact that James Comey's daughter was given the case out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, so thousands of federal prosecutors, and that she's given all of the Epstein-related stuff, Ghislaine Maxwell, a whole bunch of other ones, it all gets handed to her because Daddy is on record as the controller of the, not just Epstein files and videos, but all the other big sex trafficking, pedophilia operations, just like J. Edgar Hoover used that for control. And Diddy was heavily involved with people that were above Epstein. And so clearly she went in just like she did in all these other cases. I mean, dozens. And she minimizes it and contains it.
And that's how the elite continue their operations. Sean Diddy Combs, here we have Brianna Morello. Says Sean Diddy Combs' criminal trial was all about federal government obtaining the freak-off sex tapes the rapper had secretly recorded. Here's what the media won't tell you.
Argue that they did it better. Sean Diddy Combs' criminal trial had very little to do with sex trafficking and racketeering, and everything to do with our federal government getting its grimy little hands on those freak-off sex tapes. All you had to do was pay attention to the last 2 months in criminal court, and you'd quickly realize that federal prosecutors were doing a horrific job at proving their main argument. Actually, I'd also argue that they did a better job at proving that Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, was the one who was orchestrating the sex trafficking, because in court, she admitted to paying these sex workers, and she also admitted to being the one to orchestrate a lot of it. Even in text messages, she was sitting there and typing, because she didn't deny that this was her, saying that she'd rather have a female sex worker than a male sex worker in one of these sex parties. Folks, the reality of it here is RICO is a very tough charge to make stick. In fact, most criminal attorneys can't really even detail it and what it means to a jury. That's just the reality behind all of this. And unfortunately, our federal government did a horrible job at proving RICO, because you're trying to say that Diddy was the one running a criminal enterprise, and yet you only have one person charged. Folks, how do you run a criminal enterprise with only one person? It doesn't seem to make much in the way of sense, unless you're just trying your very best to throw anything at the wall and hope something sticks. And that's very likely what happened here. But the reality of it is you have the federal government arguing that Diddy was sex trafficking victims. But who were those victims? Well, it's important to note that there's a consistency here with not only Diddy's criminal case, but Ghislaine Maxwell. That consistency is James Comey's daughter. She was the lead prosecutor in both of those cases, and she also argued sex trafficking in both of those cases, but didn't tell you who those sex trafficking victims were being trafficked to. Now, we know that Diddy did film a lot of these freak-offs. We don't know how many, but we know that there's video footage, and a lot of these victims said that it was used against them as blackmail. But the reality of it is we never knew who was in those sex parties. Why? That's strange. We didn't hear about it either when we were talking about Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal trial. Our federal government does an incredible job at covering for those who are participants in sex trafficking, but they won't out them. Now, why is that? Well, now our federal government has these freak-off tapes. They showed the most innocent screenshots to the jury. They didn't play the video in criminal court, of course. But the reality of it is this. Prosecutors intentionally failed. That is my true belief. I don't believe that they actually really had a case here to bring up in regards to RICO and sex trafficking. They did their very best to intentionally just make it look like they were arguing that. But the reality of it is they did a better job at arguing that Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who is a domestic violence victim, was the one orchestrating most of these sex parties. So what's going to happen here? Well, we don't really know, right? We just know that he's been now found guilty on 2 out of the 5 charges he was facing. Now, the most severe charges he was found not guilty on, and he's facing on those 2 charges, he's facing a max of 10 years in prison for each count. Wow. But the reality of it is this is his first criminal conviction, and so it might be just a slap on the wrist for him. Folks, a
slap on the wrist for Diddy. What is this? Oh, my goodness. Diddy supporters showering each other with baby oil outside of the courthouse to celebrate the verdict. Yeah, they're having a freak off right outside the courthouse. Diddy supporters turned the courthouse steps into a full-blown spectacle, rubbing hard after the verdict was announced. Energy was wild, raw, and completely unapologetic. Here's some footage. This looks like some footage we can't even play here. But you get the point. Was justice served? You tell me. My final thought is next. So the Diddy verdict matters because it proves the two-tier justice system is alive and thriving. When James Comey's daughter is the prosecutor in both the Epstein and Diddy cases, and both times the most serious charges mysteriously disappear, that's not coincidence, that's coordination. So think about what we just witnessed. A bodyguard fleeing the country in terror, sex trafficking charges vanishing, blackmail tapes the feds desperately wanted staying hidden, and a celebration so vile that baby oil and degeneracy turned courthouse steps into a freak show. This is how the deep state operates, to protect their own while destroying anyone who threatens their power. The same people who weaponize justice against Trump let predators walk free. Why? Because those predators have the goods on the elite. So here's my question. Do you believe Maurene Comey is running a cover-up operation? Yes or no? If you want to support our operation, hit our merch shop and show the world where you stand. Grab an alligator Alcatraz shirt or an Otto Pen shirt and trigger liberal today by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, linked down below. Oh my goodness. I just saw the answer to the question and it all makes sense now. Good God, I had no idea. I was so wrong. You guys said Rudy Giuliani too. You got it wrong. The answer was in fact B, James Comey. Before becoming the FBI director, Comey was a federal prosecutor, and now his daughter continues the family business of protecting the elites. Holy cow, James Comey. All right, folks, that's a wrap for the show tonight. What we just witnessed across these 5 stories is not random. It's the empire striking back and failing spectacularly. So let me connect the dots for you. Trump's big, beautiful bill passing the Senate isn't just a legislative victory. It's proof that the America First agenda is unstoppable. Well, the president took a well-deserved day off. His team kept the momentum rolling. Gas prices plummeting, military recruitment surging, the F-47 fighter program launching. This is what winning looks like. And the best part, Democrats literally claim people die from the tax cuts. That's their 2028 message. Keeping more of your own money is somehow lethal. The ICE raids have the left so panicked they're inventing conspiracy theories about ocean executions. Think about that level of derangement. Well, they spread TikTok fantasies about cargo planes dumping bodies. Tom Homan and his team are actually removing violent criminals from our streets. 16 anti-tren gang members in Houston alone. The fear has finally switched to the right side, the criminal side. Project 2029 exposed the Democrats as the intellectual bankrupts they are. After shrieking about Project 2025 being fascist, they literally copied the format and pretended they invented something new. It's being run by the same Biden failures who destroyed our economy and got Marines killed in Kabul. You can't fake a movement by stealing someone else's blueprint. And women's sports are being saved one victory at a time. Leah Thomas stripped of titles, real female athletes getting justice, and UPenn forced to apologize. Well, Democrats' meltdown of Americans keeping paychecks, Trump's protecting our daughters' right to fair competition. The contrast is stark. They protect criminal aliens while we protect women. And the Diddy verdict? Pure deep state theater. Comey's daughter running another cover-up just like Epstein. Bodyguards fleeing the country tells you everything you need to know. Yep. When you know too much about the elite's depravity, you better run. Those blackmail tapes are still out there, and that's exactly why he walked. To everyone who sent in Super Chats and Rumble Rants today, you're the heartbeat of our show. Your support, your energy, and your refusal to accept the narrative is what makes the raw feed different. We don't just report news. We build a community of patriots who see through the lies. So share the show with someone who needs to hear the truth. Text it, post it, shout it from the rooftops. And hit our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and wear your support proudly. Every purchase helps us stay independent and unfiltered. This is Gary Franchi reminding you we're not just watching history, we are making it. The establishment thought they could stop this movement. They were wrong. So we got the 4th of July just around the corner. I hope you got those hot dogs and burgers on defrost. because those barbecues, well, maybe some barbecues in Waco are going to shut down, but I know yours is not. Yeah, we're going to get ready here at the Franchi household. Fire up that grill, go see some fireworks, and just thank God that the MAGA movement is taking over this country. So we'll see you next time on the Raw Feed, where the truth isn't just reported, it is unleashed.